April begins with a moment that doesn't ask you to move forward. It asks you to look directly at where you already are. The full moon in Libra brings illumination, but not in isolation. It reflects through connection, through interaction, through the subtle space between you and others. What you feel today may not originate entirely within you. It may appear through someone else's response, someone else's behavior, or the way a situation unfolds in real time. This is what makes this energy different. You are not just observing yourself. You are seeing yourself through reflection. Something may feel more obvious today, a pattern in how you relate, how you respond, or how you seek balance may become clearer without needing analysis. You may notice where you compromise too quickly, or where you hold back instead of expressing what is actually true for you. At the same time, you may also notice the opposite, where you expect too much, where you react instead of respond, where you seek harmony but create imbalance in the process. Libra energy seeks balance, but a full moon reveals where balance does not exist. This can create emotional awareness through contrast. You may feel pulled between two perspectives, what you want versus what someone else wants, what feels fair versus what feels true, what keeps the peace versus what actually needs to be acknowledged. This is not conflict for the sake of disruption. It is clarity through reflection. You may also notice that your reactions feel more immediate in relational spaces. A conversation may carry more meaning. A small moment may reveal something larger. This is because full moons bring visibility to what has been developing beneath the surface. Nothing new is being created. Something is being revealed. The key is to observe without immediately correcting. Not every imbalance needs to be fixed today. Not every realization needs to lead to action. Some things simply need to be seen clearly before they can shift naturally. And as you move through this, pay attention to where this energy shows up most strongly in your own patterns, because later we'll break this down through each zodiac sign so you can see exactly how this is shaping your experience more personally. Because today is not just about awareness, it is about recognizing what your reflections are trying to show you. To understand the deeper psychology of April 1, we need to explore what happens when awareness comes through reflection rather than isolation. The full moon represents culmination. It brings something into visibility that has been forming over time. It does not create new dynamics. It reveals what is already present, often in a way that cannot be ignored. Libra shapes how that revelation appears. Libra is not focused on the self alone. It is focused on the space between. It governs relationships, balance, fairness, and the subtle exchange of energy between you and others. It seeks harmony, but it also reveals where harmony is artificial. When a full moon occurs in Libra, awareness does not arise internally first. It arises through interaction. You begin to see yourself through contrast. This is where projection becomes important. Psychologically, projection is not just about misplacing feelings onto others. It is also a mechanism through which you recognize parts of yourself that are easier to see externally than internally. You may notice that something about another person stands out strongly today. A behavior may feel significant. A reaction may feel disproportionate. A pattern may become obvious. In many cases, what you are noticing is not only about the other person. It is reflecting something within your own relational pattern. This does not mean everything is projection. It means reflection is active. Another key dynamic of Libra is balance versus truth. Libra often prioritizes harmony, but harmony can sometimes come at the cost of authenticity. You may begin to notice where you maintain balance externally while feeling misaligned internally. You may ask yourself, even without realizing it, am I being fair or am I avoiding discomfort?
Am I maintaining peace or suppressing what is true? These questions may not be spoken, but the awareness behind them may become stronger. The full moon amplifies this. It brings emotional clarity, but not always comfort. When something becomes visible, it cannot return to being unnoticed. This is where tension can arise, not because something is wrong, but because something is now clear. Another important psychological layer is relational identity. You do not exist in isolation. Part of your identity forms through how you relate, how you respond, and how you are perceived. This transit brings awareness to that layer. You may recognize patterns in how you show up with others. Do you adjust yourself too quickly? Do you hold back to maintain balance? Do you expect others to meet a standard you are not fully expressing? These patterns become visible through interaction. The deeper lesson of this transit is awareness through reflection, not by analyzing yourself in isolation, but by observing how you exist within connection. Because when you see yourself clearly in relation to others, you begin to understand not just who you are, but how you participate in your own experiences.
On a practical level, April 1 may feel like a day where your awareness is pulled into your interactions more than your internal thoughts. You might notice that your reactions are shaped by what is happening between you and others rather than what you are thinking on your own. A conversation, a response, or even a small shift in someone's tone may stay with you longer than expected. This is where the full moon in Libra becomes noticeable in everyday behavior. You may become more aware of balance. You may notice who is giving more, who is holding back, who is adjusting, and who is not. This awareness may not always be verbal, but it can influence how you feel in real time. Another pattern that may appear today is heightened sensitivity to fairness. You may feel more aware of whether something feels equal or not. A situation that normally would not stand out may now feel significant if it seems unbalanced. At the same time, this awareness can go in both directions. You may notice where others are not meeting you equally, but you may also notice where you are over-adjusting, over-accommodating, or avoiding something to keep things smooth. This is where behavior becomes revealing. You may find yourself pausing more in interactions. Instead of responding immediately, you may feel the need to assess what is actually happening. This can create moments of hesitation, not from confusion, but from awareness. You may also notice a desire to resolve things quickly. Libra energy prefers harmony, so when something feels slightly off, there may be a natural tendency to correct it, smooth it over, or bring things back into balance. But today is not about immediate correction. It is about observation. Another noticeable pattern is the way meaning attaches to small moments. A short interaction may feel more important than usual. A simple exchange may reveal something about a dynamic that you had not fully noticed before. This does not mean everything is significant, but it does mean your awareness is sharper. You may also feel a stronger connection to how you are perceived, not in a self-conscious way, but in a relational way. You may think about how your actions affect others or how others respond to you. The key approach today is conscious interaction. Notice what stands out. Notice where something feels balanced or unbalanced. Notice how you adjust in response to others. And instead of trying to fix or change anything immediately, allow yourself to see it clearly first. Because today is not about creating balance, it is about recognizing where it already exists and where it does not. Now bring this mirror into your own experience, sign by sign. Today is not about predicting what will happen. It is about recognizing how you show up in connection and what that reveals about you. If you're an Aries, you may notice how quickly you move within relationships. You may feel the urge to respond, act, or assert yourself, but today shows you how that impacts balance.
Growth for you lies in recognizing when to pause, not to lose your edge, but to bring awareness into how you engage. If you're a Taurus, you may become aware of where you hold your position too firmly. Stability matters to you, but today may show you where that stability turns into resistance within relationships. Growth comes from allowing flexibility without losing your sense of grounding. If you're a Gemini, communication becomes the mirror. You may notice how your words, timing, or tone influence the dynamic. Growth lies in recognizing that clarity is not just about what you say, but how it is received. If you're a Cancer, emotional sensitivity may become more visible. You may feel how others respond to you more deeply. Growth comes from recognizing your emotional responses without letting them define the entire interaction. If you're a Leo, your presence in relationships may come into focus. You may notice how much of yourself you bring into a dynamic and how it is received. Growth lies in balancing expression with awareness of the other person's space. If you're a Virgo, your attention to detail may highlight imbalance. You may notice small things that feel off. Growth comes from deciding what truly matters rather than trying to correct everything.
If you're a Libra, this energy is centered around you. You may feel a stronger awareness of your role in maintaining balance. Growth lies in recognizing where you create harmony and where you avoid truth to keep it. If you're a Scorpio, deeper dynamics may become visible beneath the surface. You may sense what is not being said. Growth comes from choosing what to engage with rather than absorbing everything. If you're a Sagittarius, your desire for openness and movement may meet relational awareness. You may notice how your independence interacts with connection. Growth lies in finding balance between freedom and presence. If you're a Capricorn, structure within relationships may become clearer. You may notice what is consistent and what is not. Growth comes from allowing flexibility where needed without losing your sense of direction. If you're an Aquarius, your perspective on relationships may shift. You may observe patterns from a distance. Growth lies in using that awareness to connect more consciously rather than remaining detached. And if you're a Pisces, emotional and intuitive awareness may deepen in connection. You may feel what others are experiencing more strongly. Growth comes from maintaining your own boundaries while staying open. As we close April 1, notice how awareness does not always come from within. Sometimes it arrives through what stands in front of you. Today may have shown you something through someone else. A reaction, a pattern, a moment that felt small but stayed with you longer than expected. And what made it stay was not the situation itself. It was what it revealed. You may have noticed where something felt balanced. You may have noticed where something felt slightly off. You may have noticed how quickly you adjusted or how strongly you reacted. These moments are not random. They are reflections. Because when you see yourself through interaction, you begin to understand something that is difficult to access on your own. Not just what you feel, but how you relate. And that is where deeper awareness begins. You may feel the urge to correct something, to fix a dynamic, to explain yourself, to bring things back into balance immediately. But today was not asking for correction. It was asking for clarity. Because once something is seen clearly, it begins to shift naturally, not through force, but through understanding. Tonight, you might reflect on something simple. What did I notice about myself through others today? Where did something feel out of balance, and what did that show me? And what part of my response belongs to me? These are not questions about blame. They are questions about awareness. Because when you recognize your role within a dynamic, you gain the ability to change it, not by controlling others, but by understanding yourself within it. And that is where real balance begins.